Hello everyone, this is Kona, and thank you for tuning in to another video. So before I talked about invisibility with Sombra and her general game strategy, at least her strategy right now. I'm sure as more people play Sombra, there's going to be more strategies and more playstyles that pop up. But in this video, I want to talk about hacking, because this is something that is completely new to Overwatch. Now, if you've played MOBAs before, and personally for me, I play Dota, it's not called hacking usually in those kinds of games. It's called a silence. And in this game, because it's very MOBA-like with all the abilities, silencing someone can be a very big deal because some heroes rely on their abilities a lot, and without them, they're like sitting ducks. Now, if you use your right-click hack, the one you can just hold down, you can hack heroes and you can hack health packs. And it takes about a second or so to actually hack them without taking damage. If you take damage, it gets cancelled. But if you do successfully hack them, they can't use their abilities for 6 seconds. And if you hack health packs, you can make the health pack respawn a lot faster for your team, and at the same time, deny those health packs from the enemy team. Now, I found that there are like two main ways to effectively hack someone with your right click. The first way is to just go invisible behind them, and if they're distracted, if they're facing forward, you can just hack them, and then they probably won't turn around fast enough in order to hit you to cancel the hack. So it usually works. And the second way is to play her more like a frontline character, to maybe use a Reinhardt shield to protect you so that you can complete a successful hack without getting hit. I'm still trying to experiment with this style of play, because I'm so used to using her as a flanker essentially and being alone, but sometimes if I don't time the hacks from behind perfectly with my team's push, they don't really take advantage of that 5 seconds when they're disabled. Speaking of which, I've noticed that if I don't call out that I'm actually hacking someone, it's very hard for people to focus in on that one person who's hacked. I know that there's a visual cue when you hack someone. They have those digital ribbon thing, I don't know what it's called, but you can actually see if someone is hacked. The thing though is, I'm not sure if it's a big enough visual cue so that people focus them without you having to say something. When I play Ana, for example, and I throw a grenade, it's very obvious when their healing is disabled, and that's sort of a cue for the rest of my team to focus them because they can't heal. That's a really big advantage, right? But with Sombra, it feels like whenever I hack someone, I'm very alone when that happens. And maybe it's just the timing of me going in and actually hacking, but I figured if I hack someone, yes, they'll probably try to look for me and fight me, but it should be also a cue for my teammates to kind of help me out and focus that person. But I'm not sure if the visual cue is big enough, because honestly, when I play other heroes besides Sombra, when Sombra hacks someone, I barely even notice it, and maybe that's just kind of how she is, where she needs a lot of coordination, and the Sombra has to communicate to the rest of the team, hey, I'm gonna hack this one person, we gotta focus this person down. So which heroes should you hack? There's definitely target prioritization when it comes to hacking, because it's on a 12-second cooldown and you want to use it at the right time. So let's start with Genji. Genji, I think, is a pretty good hero to hack, because if you can take away his Swift Strike, then he won't be able to get out. McCree is pretty good to hack if you can hack him before he uses his flashbang. Otherwise, he might just, flashbang you, stun you, and then do the fan the hammer thing. So only if you can get him before the flashbang. Pharah is going to be a difficult one to hack because she's going to be in the air a lot, so she might be out of range. I guess if you hack her, she won't be able to, it'll limit her mobility essentially, but I don't know if you'll be able to actually get off the hack. I don't think it's that great. I think if you hack a Reaper, it's pretty good. If you can stop him from using Wraith form, his main escape tool essentially, then it becomes more of a gunfight. But you got to be careful because he has shotguns and he's kind of deadly at close range. Soldier 76, I think, is a good hero to hack, because it takes away his sprint and also his self-heal. So again, it becomes kind of like a regular gunfight if you can hack him. Sombra, I don't think Sombra is really worth hacking. I mean, she's going to be invisible, so it's just going to be really hard to find anyway. But it's kind of like being a spy in TF2 and then running into another spy. It's kind of awkward. If you can hack a Tracer, that would be great. I mean, all of her abilities revolve around mobility and survivability. So if you can disable those, Tracer is very squishy and pretty easy to deal with. Bastion is an okay hero to hack. I mean, you can stop the sentry form, but if he's in sentry form and he detects you hacking, he can do a ton of damage. So he might be able to just kill you before you can complete the hack. Hanzo is an okay hero, but really hacking is going to stop his scatter arrow from killing you, but I think Hanzo's still pretty effective with just his regular arrow, so I'm not sure if he's the best target to hack. Junkrat too. Junkrat is pretty decent with just his regular frag launcher. His concussion mine and steel trap are pretty good for maybe dealing with close quarters flankers, and then kind of like a get off me tool. But he still deals a lot of damage without his abilities. Mei is definitely a character you want to hack. If you can stop her from using her abilities, that's great, because it is all of Mei's abilities are very annoying, and if you can stop that, then it becomes a lot easier. Torb, I don't think it's going to be tough, because Torb has his turret and him to hack. So it's probably the turret you want to focus down, but it might be a little tough to sneak up on a turret, because if you're, this is not TF2 where you can go in disguised. The turret might focus you and you won't be able to get off the hack. So Torb's going to be a tough one. I think if you sneak up on a Widowmaker, that might be pretty good. You shut down her ability to, put down a Venom Mine to fight you, but you also shut down her escape option, her grappling hook, so it sort of forces her to fight you, so hopefully you can win that gun battle. If you can hack a D.Va, I think that's pretty good. Her defense matrix is really good, and her booster pack or whatever is a really good mobility option for her, and if you shut that down, she becomes kind of... She can be used to gain ult. She's like Roadhog, where he has no shields. Just use her to gain ult after that. I think Reinhardt's also a pretty good hero to hack, because it disables his shield and it forces him to basically take some swings. And if you're outside of that range, again, kind of like D.Va, you can use him to build ult. Just keep on damaging him. Same with Roadhog. Common theme with these tanks. If you can stop him from using his abilities, he becomes something you can use to build your ultimate. Just hit him and it's just free damage. Winston too. Winston though has really good mobility with his jump. So if Winston jumps in and puts down his shield, he essentially has nothing if you can hack him at that point. But Winston can kind of counter Sombra, because he can just, he doesn't require too much aim, and he can constantly just chase after you, so you have to get the hack off when hopefully he's distracted. Zarya is a very important hero to hack because of how powerful her shields are. I know she's, a tank, and she's used for, especially for Graviton as well, but her shields save so many lives in games, and if you can stop that, then again, she becomes sort of this tanky hero that you can use to feed your own ults. Ana's another great target for hacking, because she heavily relies on her abilities. Her sniper rifle is still pretty good at dealing damage, but her sleep dart and her grenade especially, if you can stop that from happening and stop her from healing and maybe have her focus on you, Sombra, as the flanker, then maybe I think it's worth hacking her. Lucio, I'm not so sure, because when you hack him, he stays on the aura that he's currently on. So Lucio, because he doesn't have to aim too much for his healing, he can just existing is helping his team. I don't know if he's the best hero to hack. Yes, hack the Mercy so that you can kill her and she doesn't use her res. Symmetra. Symmetra is maybe the worst hero to hack. I'm not really sure. I mean, she puts down a turret, but you rarely find any Symmetras that put down turrets during an actual fight. And, she's usually not giving shields. So in that case, it's not really worth hacking a Symmetra. And Zenyatta, I think it's okay to hack Zenyatta, but not that great, because once you put the orbs out there, the orbs stay. So he can still, deal a lot of damage with his regular clicking. So I don't think he's the greatest hero to hack. Now, there are a lot of details about how hacking works with all the heroes. I'll put a link in the description to a post that shows generally what's going to be happening with each hero when you hack them. And, because, there are things like when you EMP hack a sound barrier, you can take that away. There are certain things where you can hack a single person while they're using their ultimate, like Roadhog, and it stops the hack. But you can't really do that with Bastion, which is kind of weird. I don't really know how they decided all this kind of stuff. It's kind of unusual. But I think it's still pretty interesting, and it's still very powerful to do when you do it at the right time. Another thing that happens when you hack someone is you can see whether or not they have their ultimate. If they do, they'll have a little blue check mark above their head. And this can be very useful information because it might mean that they want to pop their ultimate as soon as they get out of the hack, as soon as they're able to use it. And so in a way, it can be a way to tell your team, hey, focus the guy with the ultimate because he might pop it and he might just wipe our entire team. Now, I've commented before that knowing the ultimate status of the enemy team is going to be very powerful, and I thought that, oh, well, if there was a hero that just knew all the percentages of the enemy team, that would be way overpowered, because I think it's part of the way of getting better at Overwatch is to gauge whether or not your enemy has an ultimate. And so I'm glad they worked this sort of mechanic into the game in a way that rewards you for hacking. It gives you the intelligence if you're successfully able to hack. So that's hacking heroes, but what about health packs? Because when I learned that Sombra could hack health packs, I was like, what? That seems really good. That seems really good, especially in a quick play environment. And I'll talk about why in a second, but first off, so hacking health packs, it makes it so that you get it faster for your team and disables it for the other team. And it's a way to mark your territory. It's a way to make sure that, okay, well, our flankers and our just regular teammates in general can use this area to fall back to, and so you can actually push the front line a little bit further and further as you control health packs. Also, if you hack health packs on your side of the map, you're denying those health packs for enemy flankers, and that's really important because enemy flankers need those health packs. Just in case they get hit, they need some way to stay up and running so that they don't have to go all the way back to their side just for health. Now, if you're running a comp where everyone likes to stay together and push as a team, then I think health packs or hacking health packs, I'm not sure how useful that's going to be, because you want to, instead of having teammates heal themselves with health packs, you want to leave the healing to your supports so that they can gain their ultimates faster. So in that case, I'm not really sure if the hacking will help that much. But I think it will help in the new Quick Play. And if you haven't heard, Quick Play now has a 1 hero limit, just like in competitive. And I'm probably going to make another video just talking about this specifically, because I think it's kind of a big deal. But in this situation, and at least at my level of play, everyone, like, there's a lot of people who like to go DPS. The team comp in this situation is usually 5 DPS and 1 healer, usually. And it's very hard sometimes to keep everyone alive in that situation. And so as a Sombra, you can hack health packs so that you can provide more healing for your team. And essentially, you can maybe even get a silver medal in healing just because the regen rate on the health packs is so fast. Now, one thing you cannot do is counter-hack enemy health packs. So if it's already owned by the enemy, you cannot make it your own. And this can be a little bit annoying because 60 seconds is a long time to wait for that health pack to become usable again. But I understand why they sort of did this. I mean, imagine if they allowed counter-hacking of health packs. That means both teams might have to run a Sombra. And while that's interesting, where you have to fight over health packs and you sort of progress to the map that way, at the same time, I'm not really sure if that's the best for the game, because that means you have to lock in those heroes. The only counter to a Sombra doing that is another Sombra on the other team. I'm not sure if that's the best for the game, so I understand why they don't want counter-hacking of enemy health packs. So those are some of my thoughts about hacking with Sombra. I think it's going to be very interesting because she's the first one that's able to do this, and Overwatch is a game that relies heavily on using abilities, so I'm interested to see how people respond to this. I think at first people are going to be a little annoyed by it because they, won't be able to do much, but you got to remember that when you're hacked, you're still able to shoot, and if you're a good shot, you can still be somewhat effective. It's not like Mei. I think one of the reasons why Mei is so annoying is because she affects your mobility and she affects your aim, and affecting those things in a first-person shooter, that's probably the most annoying thing you can add to a shooter, honestly. But what about you? What do you think about Sombra's hacking? Do you think it's really going to shake up the meta a lot and, really be like the answer to a lot of these annoying things that keep on happening, like Ana boost and stuff? You think it'll really shake up the meta? Let me know in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.